Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. We are just getting spun up right now. Bear with me. Two little munchkins just going ham today. Just making sure I need to update X before I opened it. Yeah, I am live. No, I'm not going to join me now. I'm going to make a new space for the audio space. I'm going to do, let's chat. Kacey and Friends, March 30th. I can open up chat. I see we've already got somebody in chat. Highlander's here. Hey there, Highlander. Home of the kindness is always free. That's right. March 30th. It's tech, travel, science. Recorded. We don't allow incognito. Go ahead and start. Then while it connects, we will invite. Is that how it works? Oh, that works. It's connecting, it says. It's connected to the right network. It's got a. All right, it says I'm speaking. Let me unmute. And then. Yeah, that's not a good start. You shouldn't still say connecting. Let me end the app. Open it back up. And then go to me. Then, that's the old one. So the new one didn't even start. So we're going to go to spaces. Just roll over your sleep now. March 30th. And then we're going to go to recorded start. There we go. We'll invite Slimy, Robert. Where's Highlander at? They're not in any sort of order. This is interesting. All right, we're going to send those. And then where to go? Oh, there it goes down below. Unmute me. All right. Oh, it stood it without a title and anything. Dang. This is what happens when you shoestring it together. You make $44 billion, but the stuff is wonky. All right, there's Slimy. Okay, so we can fix this title, and she can help the people on board. Invite to co-hosts. Send. Okay. I think I also have to invite you to speak. Oh, there you go. So I guess I don't have to do two. Perfect. Yes. On Android, it treats the. What's that? Much longer. Well, he was only ever promising 2. Significantly less than 2 years. I'm curious. I'm curious how that all plays out. We'll see what happens there. I'm curious to see if his previous trend comes back, or if his or if his new buying everything out works again. So good evening, Anders. Good to see you out there. And where was I with I was setting it up. I sent you the invite. You got it. Moto's over there having a connection because she needs to sleep. Those of you on the web shouldn't hear it, but sorry for those of you in the space. This is what I've got. Well, you and anyone on the recording. It's what? That's not helpful. It's not at all. Well, I'm going to have to make a new one. I'll invite you over there because it's supposed to record. 1 sec. Okay, record is on. Everything's on. Start. Send. Unmute myself. And again, sorry for those of you on the recording. And then do invite to co-host. There we go. Send invite. And now we need to find Highlander to get him in here as well. And we will almost be done setting everything up. All right, so we've got this window here that you guys are in. And then I need a window for the news. And I've got a surprising amount of news available for somebody who spent 3-4 days practically offline. All right, so let's see. So it says recording, that's good. And you do see the kid. I mean, because it's not very much of a podcast if it's not recorded. It's more like an old school radio broadcast one time, no tape. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. There you go. What do you say to that? Excellent. Yeah. So why don't you tell us about that while I get everything spun up for the news? Oh, cool. Yeah. Because they were, 5 colors? And now they're 4? Huh? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. It always makes it more special. There you go. Your mirrors can fold in on their own. I've seen a couple times where I go down an alley and FSD will fold the mirrors in on its own. I'm like, oh, this must be really tight. Yeah. Don't forget to turn that off in front of snowy, icy weather, like freezing rain. Definitely. I got remind me to tell everybody about how I fixed mine, because it stops even doing cruise control for a minute. All right, so the first item we've got in the notebook just happens to be, as I come to them. So Sawyer Barrett pointed out that Tesla has halted the FSD free trial in China because China has implemented new guidelines coming from the Chinese authorities requiring pre-authorization for OTA updates. So now they have to ask first before they push updates to the car. I'm not sure what's going on there. It seems rather annoying, but you could say it's safety or whatever, but I don't know. It seems to be just overreach, but that's them. They're known for overreach. These measures come into effect in late February of 25, so Tesla will roll it out again when they get regulatory approval. The whole fact that it's not really FSD over there is already them complying with regulations, right? This guy says overreaching. Overreaching. Hopefully that approval comes soon. Due to China regulations, we're on a temporary pause. We'll be back with a bang, friends. Okay, so before we get into just like jingoism, let's go on over to a whole host of stuff about third-party superchargers, which are interesting and developed over time. We talked about it a little bit on the Tesla Live show. Breaking: Tesla's partnered with the EV Group, which will roll out superchargers under its own brand in the U.S. It will own and operate these chargers, leveraging Tesla's hardware, software, and service, much like EV Point does in the UK. Except that it's none of that. They have purchased a supercharger and a service contract and installation from Tesla. So in that they both have superchargers on their site where they wanted them and paid for them, that's the commonality. However, as customers, we won't see the difference between this site and any other sites because it's going to be Tesla branded. It's going to be installed and operated and maintained by Tesla as if it were a site that Tesla paid for. So basically, Tesla got to drop a site down for free, and they have to share the revenue with their customer. But the good thing is they don't have to come up with a new faceplate or sticker or whatever. And as far as us customers are concerned, it just works. It'll be interesting though for folks on the unlimited supercharging because that means that instead of Tesla just washing it out, they'll actually have to be paying somebody for your free supercharging. I'm curious if they'll remove it from the map for people who aren't paying. Not completely removed, but like I'm wondering if they'll deprioritize it and have the computer. The space ended. All right, so we'll get back. Look at that back. Just completely closed on its own. Spaces. I'm gonna do Let's Chat. Kacey and Friends. March 30th. Part 2. I'm running out of characters there. September and October are going to be a pain in the butt. Science, tech, cool. Start. Start. Mute. All right, so these are going to be very well maintained because they won't be treated anything differently than the existing stations, which is a plus for us, and that's where it's extremely different from EV Point and the others, because those ones they are branded, and a couple of them they are actually installed and maintained by the customer rather than by Tesla. So let's see. Exciting announcement: EV Group is rolling out 3 supercharging stations with Tesla. We're honored to be an early beta partner to own new supercharging stations, and that's what's new about this. Is these are new stations. In the past, you've been able to buy used stations, and then they don't show up in the map. They work, but they don't show up in the map, and they were typically limited to like 60 kilowatts, which isn't bad for an on-site charger, but it was pretty bad compared to what they were doing before they were used units. They were at a minimum 90 kilowatts. Some of them were 150s before they became 60 kilowatt chargers. This is a full-fledged V3 plus, so it's 325 kilowatts. They've got the picture of the V4 station, so it may actually be a 500 kilowatt. We'll see what actually goes in the ground. Let's see. They say also V4 with Magic Dock, but from what I understand, a V4 won't come with Magic Dock because Max already told us that the Giga Buffalo was stopping putting the adapter in everything. And so we've got, we're going to see what actually deploys. Because as we've discussed, folks don't understand the difference between a V4 native and a V3 plus. What's up, Timothy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Excuse me. And where were we? So we're looking for A-plus locations to partner with developers and real estate owners to provide official Tesla supercharging stations, preferably 12 stalls or more. So they purchased the rights for installing 3 of them so far, and that will be interesting to watch it unfold. And let's get into more of it. Here's my other post about the EV Point site launched in the UK with Tesla V4 superchargers. So again, these are V3 pluses, and here we can see the difference between what's going on. There's going to be Tesla branded, and EV Point is not Tesla branded. They are owned. Let's take a look here. So see how they don't say Tesla on them. They have the EV Point decals. Their superchargers, all right. These ones look like they are installed by Tesla, though. Look at the way that they got the 1A, 2B. That'll be interesting because in the States, and then there's others that are fully purchased like this and maintained and operated by, whereas this one we're talking about here, they're installed and operated and maintained by. Tesla Plug and Charge works for Tesla users. That's cool. So they've done a hybrid at the EV Point. Find us on Charge Map, Jules, Mobility, DK, All-Star, the Tesla app, all EV users. Tap and pay with the RFID. So theirs are actually turned on, unlike the ones here in the States. All payment methods accepted, all EV users. You get your customer support number. There we go. All right, so now let's continue on this one, and then we'll get on to the other subjects. We've got quite a few. I do like this, the EV Auto, a mobile EV service. Alexander has removed the post from LinkedIn now. Happy I caught it when I did. I assume it might have been because he called it a joint venture, whereas I don't think Tesla actually does joint ventures, at least not as legal entities like that. Could be wrong, of course. Max talks a bit more about the partnerships like EV Auto above and the EV Point 1 for the UK, now called EG on the Move. That might save me some of these links I've saved. I don't know why she's going on like that. We want to be helpful to businesses that invest in charging. There's still too much waste in CapEx and OpEx in charging, combined with poor experiences. A lot more. 30x good infrastructure needs to be built to achieve 100% EV adoption. So for this one, what we've got is a lot, but we need more. At least 30x, Max says. And he's got a great point about the CapEx and OpEx. So the capital expenditure of buying stations, everybody else's stuff is so freaking expensive. I don't know why it's not. Oh, what? It's not sharing what I'm sharing. Now it's blinking. Hold on. There it goes. And that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen this system do. Looks like it went back. I didn't click back. I don't have voice commands on. It went way back. So anyway, whatever happened there. So the CapEx, the competitive charging stations, except for probably Rivian, they're super expensive, and there's so much logistics because there's so many different pieces involved. It's not something you just plunk down, and then do the OPEX is to continue the operating. So you got your capital expenditure, then you got your operating expenditures. To keep it maintained, you got your electricity, you've got your upkeep and maintenance, and Tesla's the largest worldwide charging provider. And yes, they have different cables in half of the world and China, but it's the same equipment inside. So they have the economy of scale going on a massive deployment, and you can, if you partner with them, you can take advantage of that and just use it. Hang on, I don't have any of the stuff running. That's bad. Yep, that's us. Dismiss. Go back. Yeah, we're live on this one. Good job. Okay, so it's a lot easier to account for OPEX. It's just a bill you're paying, like electricity and water, and they don't have to have any employees to do this, and it's just going to be up to the standard that the customers expect, because it's the same people giving the customers what they expect already. Often the culprit is a mix of different hardware, software, and service, and the software is huge. Look at how many people have quit because they can't get the software going. Often the culprit is a mix of hardware, software, and service providers. This increases the cost stack, complexity, and finger pointing over accountability. Yeah, finger pointing like this. Tesla offers an all-in-one solution as an option with Tesla hardware, Tesla software, and Tesla service. We operate the largest global network, and we've proven and we offer what we've proven works. All superchargers come with a maniacal focus on customer experience, including 24/7 monitoring, Tesla service technicians, and software updates. Again, those software updates are important because as each new car comes out, or each car gets its own software updates or parts revisions, it changes how they interface. So software is in charging is challenging and constantly evolving, which is why some large charging management software, CSMS providers, have stopped operating in recent months. So we've got I kept telling you about all these different like gas companies, etc., that were buying charging, and they did, and then they ran them for a couple months, and then they sold them off or shut them down. It wasn't they were shutting them down for oil; they were shutting them down because they didn't want the expense involved in staying in this business. They're not software companies, and that adds up if you have to keep getting somebody to do software for you. Superchargers sold to third parties. Stopped operating in recent months, a concerning trend. Superchargers sold to third parties include the latest Tesla firmware, plug and charge, down post notifications, site outage and maintenance alerts, in-app issue reporting, customer support, real-time wait time, stalls available upon arrival, and more features always in development. So basically, they're telling you that if you operate with them, you'll have everything you already have as an operator on the best of the competitive systems, leaving the worst of their competitive situations in the dust. Let's see. Since we're confident on what customers can expect to see, what customers can expect, these superchargers can be featured automatically in the trip planner with dynamic rerouting, providing more options for drivers and increasing site utilization. So that's a benefit right there. If you have a site that Tesla didn't pick because it didn't meet their requirements for volume or whatever, and you go with a third party, you have to wait for enough people to come by with a Tesla for your car to get evaluated by the cars, for your site to get evaluated by all the cars, and then get included on the network. And then it's going to be kind of like a second tier because it's a third party charger, but it will work. And then you've got to hope that enough people don't have a bad experience that the cars automatically pull you back out of the network. Whereas with this, the car doesn't know it's not a Tesla charger. The customer doesn't know it's not a Tesla charger. Only your bank account and Tesla's bank account know that this is a third-party charger. And I think that's the best presentation right there for somebody who wants to open a charging system, especially with all the vehicles in North America having gone max, or elsewhere in the world, in China and Europe, everybody already has a standard port. So you're looking at basically Korea and Japan and a handful of other places that are question marks. And Japan's going Xiaoju, so that will even be settled as well. The most important part is customers love it, which drives EV adoption. So EV on the move. So he included a link to these people too. It's a different site, I think. Yeah, it's a different site. I mean, clearly those are V4 pedestals. And then those are V3 cabinets. It's a V3 Plus. And just like we talked about, Germany has already been fully upgraded from V2s to V3 Pluses. We're spinning on YouTube. Hopefully that's just my connection and not everybody else's connection. All right, so I've got a couple more posts from Max. Thanks for being flexible on when to charge. Time of use pricing was designed exactly for folks like yourself. He's saying he likes charging off hours. There's a conflict here, though. Tesla insurance penalizes driving late at night during supercharging off-peak hours. This one incentive nils out the other, but the safety score is a badge. It's 1, and I stopped going for off-peak chargers, or off-peak supercharging hours. Don't you have the option to opt in to safety score? They penalize me for turning hard into my driveway. Not hard at all. How fast are you going to turn into your driveway to get a turning score? What I'm thinking here is this guy must live like on a country road and just like left the roadway. But there's any number of ways that could all be triggered. But it does require a pretty significant speed versus like a subdivision's driveway. This child's been crying for over half an hour. How do you sleep through that? She gave me a smile. Okay, so is it plug-in charge also available to non-Teslas? Yes, if their certification roams with Tesla. It's already the case for most OEMs in North America, which was part of their joining the Supercharger Coalition. So you didn't need the app for most of them. I don't get it. Why they pay money to build superchargers when you guys are doing it the same? They use your hardware and software. Their prices are going to be a bit higher than Tesla's ones, I suppose. Well, they may have some like local grant money to build chargers, or Tesla may have skipped their town because it didn't have enough people in it, or it wasn't directly on a route. They want a charger. They want it here. They want it now. Tesla said, okay. I don't see a reason to argue with these people paying for what they want and a service provider giving them what they asked for. Sounds like a private transaction to me. Highlander says, any interest in boots on the ground at the Chattanooga charge update? I just left this morning. Yeah, Highlander, come on into the space and we can talk about it. Staying on topic, the Great Lakes Regional Food Store Myers was one of the first to install Tesla chargers on the whole. That's true. They were quick. Myers, Wawa, Forest something, and Sheets. They were all pretty solid on it. Let's see what we've got here. We've got Tesla chargers on the whole. The new stars are getting the black and white level 4. Ah, okay. So the V3 pluses, pretty cool. I like them. All right, so I've got another Max link in here. I'm not sure why. Let's find out what we're doing with Max here. I mean, I know why. I just don't know what. Okay, so that one we just looked at. She wants a blanket. I'm glad you didn't delete this post. Okay. Oh, okay. So the LinkedIn was deleted, not the X post. So clarify, this is not a joint venture, just supercharger with Tesla software and service being purchased. So says thanks. Tesla services them and monitors their uptime and health. This guy's asking what happens if they break. Like I said, to the customers, they don't look any different. How's the margin on this business for the third party? Well, considering how Max was talking about the capex and opex, sounds like he's trying to be competitive. And him and his team and the company. Okay. Dude, I didn't even know you about you. Thank you for your hard work over the years at Tesla. Next topic is still on charging. Copy link. Go. Where are we on charging for a short minute? Oh, there's Highlander. All right, Highlander. Let's do some on charging, and then we will go ahead and get your update. So Alpatronics is replacing their old hardware with, or Electrify America is replacing their old hardware with the Alpatronic HYC 400. And our friends over at Outer Spec have made a video on it, and it's an improvement over what they had, and let's just hope that they keep it up, because they're a distant second. What's up, Highlander? Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. We got a couple stories on charging, and then we'll talk about that. I'm curious how it was going down. On the retrofits, they were talking about this year replacing a significant portion of all the what they call now the short cable charging stations, and replacing them with long cable charging stations. So either a V2 with a V4 head end, which I really doubt, or the V3 pluses or native V4s. So basically, the V4 interface is what the customers will all be seeing. That's going to be able to mitigate cable damage and theft. It's going to be able to mitigate all the all the Charger non-Tesla, all the supercharger coalition cars where the ports are in the wrong place. And I say wrong, but where they're not in the customary place, where the stations are set up to accept them. And it also allows the station operator more reliability. And so even if it's a full-on Tesla site and they're just a host and they just gave them free land to sit on, the customers still complain at them, and if there's a slower, they still get skipped. So they do care, even if they don't put any investment into it, they do care that the superchargers are working. Very similar to the one I made the video about the deleted supercharger, where this couple bought a hotel, and they weren't into the EVs, and they were very hostile to the Tesla owners coming in to use the restroom. And as soon as the contract was up, Tesla yoinked the superchargers and moved them over to another site to expand it. So it was a V2, but it was gone. But while the contract was in force, it was open. You could go to it. You could charge at it. And so I had a video on that. Oh yeah. She's still asleep. Let's see. So the next one we've got, and then we're going to go over to the event. We had Revel. NYC's fastest EV charging company, Revel, opens its first West Coast station. and I'm assuming that's West Coast U.S. But at this point, I'd received some news, so we were unable to dig into the details. So let's do it now. Fastest around New York City started as a West Coast expansion today with 12 320 kilowatt chargers. Good gracious. And yep, so it is West Coast US. I was thinking there's no West Coast of New York, unless they mean the other side of Long Island. Anyway, 12 320 kilowatt chargers in San Francisco. More to come soon. Here at Electric, they've written about Rebel many times. The company has attracted a lot of attention from EV fans. I'm curious now if they've got the 12 stations, if that means they're going to expand their service to the area, because the whole reason they even had the sites was they needed them to charge their own cars for their rideshare service or their taxi service or their hybrid taxi rideshare service. Basically, they have a bunch of Model Ys that they remove the front passenger seat in, so you have a lot of legroom in that prime seat, the right rear seat. And they needed somewhere to charge their cars. And then when their cars weren't charging, you could charge your car and pay for it. I thought it was a pretty smart move. And so I'm thinking, does this mean that the service is coming if they've got the chargers there? Or do they make enough profit off of charging sessions that this was worth it? Let's see. Reliable 24/7 charging. You may remember that Revel hired a lot of Tesla supercharger team after Elon stupidly fired them. I don't know if it was stupid or not, but it was definitely not pre-planned or well thought out in the way that it occurred. If you're familiar with the way this guy fires people, I always describe it as Timu Jack Welch. It's like he saw the documentary or read the book, but only got like 60 to 80% of the way through and started firing people because all the other stack ranking, Jack Welch, etc. companies, they were a lot more measured. They knew what people did before they fired them, and they had evaluation scores rather than just saying, "Hey, 30% of you got to go tomorrow." But that's a whole other story. So let's get back on subject. Rebel started in the U.S.'s densest city, New York, is now expanding to another of its most densely populated cities. It's certainly one of the most one of the densest in terms of EVs, San Francisco. The new station is in San Francisco's Mission District at 199 Erie Street, right next to the 101 freeway. Ribbon cutting happened this morning, attended by San Francisco Mayor Leary. I need to move the shelf. It is echoing. It's not supposed to be there anyway, but I had to get it in the room. All right, so it includes 12 charging stations with Chem Power chargers. They were a sponsor over at Spec for a while. They might still be. Yeah. You're so sleepy, your eyes are crossed. Go ahead and get some rest. Get some rest. It's okay. Oh. And her sister is asleep too. Good. The company says it wants to install 125 chargers in San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, and San Francisco. Oh, South San Francisco, as if it's a different place, over the next year. It currently operates 100 chargers in total. Not bad. All right, Highlander, if you want to go ahead and tell us what we need to know about the event. I did. How was the event? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Exactly. They should do them like on a hill. Okay. Oh, nice. I love the train museums. Okay. Yeah. Uh, they are DC, and they're up to um, currently today they're up to 325, but they'll be up to 500 depending on the equipment and sighting and car uh, by the middle of this year. Yeah, and so they'll be fun. Hello, little one. All right, so this is Makoto. She's new this week. Yeah, she came out. She took 20 mils right out of the womb. Yeah, I know you're hungry. I just asked you if you wanted milk. You said yes. Milk? Hello, over here. There you go. She acts like we never feed her. She's gone up to right. Yes. And so she acts like we don't ever feed her. I'm hoping that means that she'll be able to do some sports or something if she wants to, because you're gonna eat me out of house and home. Her sister didn't need but half of this. Okay, let's see what we've got here. On Robert says, "Love her. So happy for you. Thank you, Robert. Thank you." Yes. So the V4 natives will be out second half. They tell us, and with that we'll get 1.2 megawatts at the equipment, and they say up to 500 kilowatts at the car. So that would give us you could get two Cybertrucks and something else could charge together at full speed. You need to slow down, child. Yeah, slow down. You'll be there, I promise you. You good? Okay. One more? More milk? You ready to go back to the nap? Staring at the ceiling fan. It's high contrast. It's a white ceiling with a black fan. So, infants in there. High contrast. You want more milk? Yeah. I see you smiling. Well, don't take the bib off, because you don't eat without the bib. You're a messy eater. Yeah. Yeah, here. Don't cry. I said don't cry. um, oh my goodness. I would cry for that too. You heard that? They're trying to tax your food. 25%. It's messed up, isn't it? Food should be free. Everybody's got to eat. Yeah. She agrees. Yeah, so the V4 natives will also charge the semi trucks at up to 1.2 megawatts or 1,200 kilowatts, because the trucks cannot wait on charging. The trucks need to be waiting on the human, not the human waiting on the truck, because otherwise you're losing money. Because after fuel, your next biggest expense is the humans. So, speaking of fuel, I guess this isn't charging stations, but let's take to the air. Let's paste this in here. Show this back on stream. Boom. The Electra eStall aircraft needs just 100 feet to take off, and gets 9 billion in orders. And for some reason, I linked to the post and not the article. Is there a reason I did that? The eStall aircraft's 100-foot takeoff is impressive, but in the UK, we'd still be debating its environmental impact while the rest of the world moves forward. Typical bureaucratic brilliance. And then there's a discover more of Aptera's production intent solar EV completed its first trip, traversing over 300 miles. It says video. We're not going to watch the video, but hopefully the text is there because what they did was impressive. How are you going to sleep and eat? Whatever. Paste and go. Yes, so company seems to have a surprise $9 billion hit on its hands. That's not bad. They claim it was founded to provide affordable air travel without airports, emissions, or noise. And the goal is to provide an affordable air travel without airports, emissions, or noise. The promises of eVTOL aircraft, but at significantly reduced cost. Yeah, because to do the human drones is rather expensive versus starting with something that already existed and just making it short takeoff and landing, especially if you can do the vertical landing. I don't know if they can. I don't know if those rotate or not. Let's take a look. And the EL2 proved that the electric drive concepts could, in fact, quietly take off from airstrips just 100 feet long and do so with a fraction of the noise of a similar conventional combustion-powered aircraft at a fraction of the cost of a modern eVTOL, which is electric vertical takeoff and landing. You're spilling all over yourself. I know you're going to answer the thing again later. Yep. You snoring? All right, we'll burp you a little later then. Let's see. Lee says, happy Sunday. Hey, Lee, I saw that you sent me a message and I didn't get a chance to respond to it because of arms full and time crunch, but I will get back to you on that. You're sleeping loudly. It must have been good milk. Successful test flight. I guess that means they got funded, that they put the dollar sign there, 7S. After the success of their first prototype, they scored a raft of orders. Yep, that's exactly what they're saying. A raft of orders accumulating in the 2,000th aircraft pre-order in February of 24. That's incredible. That's just a brand new company, 2,000 planes ordered. I wonder how many they hold. Since then, despite the company being relatively quiet press-wise, orders have continued to roll in, and they have now reportedly are sitting on $9 billion in pre-orders. All right, so the balloon lift explainer, let's see. Balloon lift. All right, then. That explains so much. By blowing air over the wings and large flaps with an array of electric motors, ultra-short aircraft multiplies the amount of lift that the wing makes at very low speeds. There we go. That makes more sense. With this technique, we can take off and land at speeds as low as 35 knots, which only takes a few vehicle lengths to achieve. The key is in the accelerated airflow forming a thick jet sheet coming off of the trailing edge of the wing, making the wing act virtually larger than it physically is. In climb and cruise, we reduce the blowing and stow the flaps for ultra-efficient operations. Yeah, because flaps are not usually efficient for fuel. because they add drag. Let's see. That's pretty cool. It looks like they've already got a contract with the Air Force based on that rendering, or they're pursuing one at least. And of course, the Air Force wants one. And why wouldn't they? They like planes and drones. Yes. You look milk drunk. He said, "I'm what?" You want to burp or you want more milk? Okay, back to sleep. The stage where she practices her facial expressions when she's dreaming or whatever. And then you get the big old happy smiles, and then you get the just soul crushing frowns, and then just like everything in between, like her talking face, and she practices with the eyebrows and the eye motions. Apparently, they only do that for like 8 days, and then it's never again until they actually experience those emotions. Yeah, so that's an eVTOL. Let's take a look now at. Sorry, no, not eVTOL. That's eStall. Short takeoff and landing. I guess we're not done with charging. I didn't do a very good job of massaging these together. Back to charging. I didn't do a good job. Oh, no, Tesla riders just started to put their stuff on X. Start today, and the U.S. owners of Hyundai Kona electric Ioniq hatchback, Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6 models equipped with CCS support gain access to 20,000 Tesla superchargers in the United States with the NACS adapter. And remember, the Hyundai Kia Genesis Group adapters that they currently have on sale are not suitable for use with other cars because they have a lower ampacity. Because they have a lower ampacity, and they do work with other people's adapters because those have a higher ampacity. And basically, what happened previously is their NACS native cars came out and were on sale, and the Tesla systems weren't differentiating between the two. And then Tesla fixed the glitch, and now they are officially allowed on with an adapter. The native cars continue to enjoy their access. Complementary NACS adapters are being made available to the owners of the following Hyundai EVs: the Kona Electric, Ioniq Electric hatchback, Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, and the 2025 Ioniq 5N. On the Kona Electric and the Niro, I don't think Genesis made one of those, but of those two cars, it's cut off by purchase date because it is a budget car, and that $200 made a difference to them. Whereas on the other ones, it either came out of the marketing budget, or they could eat it, or they'd already planned on it. And the problem is that their charge port is on the wrong side for superchargers. They end up parking in the adjacent spot and effectively taking up 2 spaces with the port of the driver's rear. Driver's side Teslas can no longer use the corresponding spot, which is why they are installing more of the long cable chargers to make sure that this becomes less of an issue. Because there's no way anyone's going to retrofit the car to change the port location. Here we've got a small recall segment this week. Last week we had a pretty big recall segment with every Cybertruck coming back. This one's just 91 cars. And so 91 Model S and X vehicles were recalled over horn issue. So if you remember when the Model S and X came out with the yoke, they had this little horn button here. And if you pushed on the airbag, nothing happened. And then later on, they switched it to what people expect, where if you push on the airbag, the horn goes boop, boop. And, well, 91 cars had servicing where they put the wrong airbag module in. So the airbag will still work, but if it was a car that needed the sensor underneath, it got the one for the little horn button, which meant that when you pushed on the horn, there was nothing for it to push against, and so it didn't boop boop, and that is a severe safety violation. But the converse also happened, where if you had a car that was expecting you to push the button, it had the horn pad underneath, and since it wasn't connected correctly, it also messed up. And so Tesla's calling back all 91 of those cars. You have to either get a mobile service or bring it on into the store or service center to get them to swap your module for the correct module, with or without the pad. If you've still got the horn button, they're giving away free retrofits so that the wheels don't peel like the leather was peeling, and to put the horn back where it belongs. So you can get that replaced for free, not just because of a recall, but of course, if this is your only car for the last couple of years, you're probably used to it by now. But if anybody else drives your car, they don't end up in silence when they smush the airbag and get nothing. What are we dreaming about? That doesn't look comfortable. You want to turn over here? Here, turn over here. There you go. I can burp you while you sleep too. Okay. Bring back stocks. According to the recall documentation posted by the NHTSA website, this issue impacts just 91 vehicles in the United States, and it covers 2021 to 2024 Model S and 2021 to 2025 Model X, manufactured between May of 21 and December of 24. Transport Canada has not yet issued a similar recall, but expected. And at that point, I'd also expect it on other cars around the world if they offered both versions of the horn pad and the horn button. Let's see. So that's our recall segment for the week. I don't believe we have anything else being recalled. Then we've got a weird political situation. I mean, I see what they're trying to do, and I don't know how I feel about it, because it doesn't feel legal, even though they were doing it through the legal system. And then, regardless of how you feel about what they're trying to do and what their goals are, the primary stated reasons are the secondary knock-on effects are just friggin' despicable. And I'll try to break them up and explain what my thinking on why I think that the secondary effect is unacceptable. The first part, like I said, I don't think is legal, but we'll find out. So, the state of New York is getting in on their anti-Elon protests, and Tesla could be subject to new legislation in New York that seeks to revoke the permits for the company's 5 stores. As part of the bill introduced in this week, the sponsors say it aims to foster competition and innovation in the marketplace by doing none of that. State Senator Patricia Fahey and Assembly Member Gabriela Romeo introduced SB 68994 on Thursday, effectively revoking the direct sales permit from the 5 existing Tesla stores in New York, as detailed in the press release. If passed, the New York bill would keep in place a 5-store limit on direct sales locations, but would require the state's DMV to reevaluate existing permits and issue new ones, excluding Tesla, which currently holds all 5 of the available permits. So currently, before these meddlers get in place, it is 5 locations per direct sales entity. So Rivian can have 5, and Tesla can have 5, and Lucid can have 5. They want 5 for the state. Tell me that's not because they're backed by some dealership groups. 5 for the state? That's the same BS that that they tried to pull in North Carolina, where I picked up my car. It was sold in Raleigh, delivered by Charlotte. It was supposed to be delivered to my office, but there was a hurricane. So the reason it wasn't sold and delivered by Charlotte was because Charlotte was too close to Raleigh at a 4.5 hour drive with no traffic. Too close. Meanwhile, you have 3 Chevy dealerships across the town. And not just Chevy, but I was at Chevy at the time. Three Chevy dealerships. You got same with the Ford. Not so many of the other makes. They tend to separate out for metros, but those 2 particular legacies love to have them multiples per city. So that would drop them down to 5. So instead of having 5 per brand, 5 per manufacturer, whichever. So that means that the new Scout Motors couldn't even get one because remember, they're trying to pressure Scout into going back to dealerships because they're owned by VW, who does do dealerships. So we've got more than 5 brands that do the direct to consumer thing, which means that they're either going to start a bidding war or they're planning to leave some out. And how do they phrase this crap? How does that foster competition and innovation in the marketplace if nobody even knows your stuff exists? So, daggum political doublespeak. Anyway, let's continue. The legislation provides controlled growth of New York's zero emission vehicle market by not granting indefinite privileges to early entrants. Currently, all 5 direct sales locations are located downstate and are operated by Tesla, which limits consumer choice and prevents other manufacturers from entering the market. No. Allow everybody to do 5. You don't need to restrict the state to 5 total. Yes. Anyway, let's continue on. I'm going to try not to get too upset reading this. Like I said, the first part about pulling the existing one as a political retaliation is weird. And I don't know that it's legal the way they're doing it. But this whole thing about the rest of it, where they do the double speak and say, this is to protect you. This is to make it better for everyone else. And they're just lying through their teeth. Because, again, there are already more than 5 of these companies out there. So somebody is getting left in the cold. And not just Tesla. The bill would allow new manufacturers into the market and ensure that there's an opportunity to expand these locations geographically. Now, I may be wrong here, but didn't last month we just see somebody look at the Lucid store and the Rivian store in that area? I don't know if it was in New York or if it was like Massachusetts, but I wouldn't be so annoyed by it if they would just tell the truth. Won't be Elon Musk. Screw electric cars. Buy some diesel and gas from your local Bob Smith, Dick, whatever, Ford, Chevy, Hyundai. I don't know why people who are named Richard go by Dick. That sounds like a terrible. In this day and age, I get in the past it was something different, but today, why would you still choose to do it? Anyway, continuing on. One of the dealers around he goes by Dick. So. Anyway, continuing on. Faye also told Politico that the bill intentionally aims to target Tesla CEO Elon Musk in the wake of his efforts under the recently created Government Efficiency Division under the Trump administration. No matter what we do, we've got to take this from Elon Musk, Faye says. He's part of the effort to go backwards. I'm not sure that that's the way to combat this. I mean, it certainly is much more effective than what some of the vandals are doing. It definitely looks less legal than what the picketers are doing. The picket's perfectly legal, but she seems to be on the side of the arsonist, it seems. Yeah, go ahead. Doing well. How are you doing? Yeah, you can make clear. Excellent. Hello. Okay. Yeah, we hear you. Yeah, I'd like to hear from somebody local because, like, when I'm reading this, I'm just getting mad. Oh, cool. Right? Hmm. Yeah. Oh, so they're hoofing it like a couple minutes. Yeah, and on a Saturday. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. And Elon, yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Wow. Yeah. 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 I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Wow. So that's an interesting aspect I didn't really notice, but you have a point there. I have a couple of trans people in my circles, and the thing they're all harping on right now is how you've got a couple like the just the extremists who kind of came in and blew up their movement and then left. Their whole thing was no gender and then leave, and so you see some of these elements of the radical. We're going to get it in front of the cameras for whatever's happening, and then leave for the next thing that the cameras are coming for, while leaving the people who we came and blew up their stuff to pick up the pieces. So like these trans people, they now have to figure out how to get their health care. When they tried it with the minority communities, it's like, oh, now we got to figure out how to get our stuff handled because you people came in, you were loud, you made a mess, and you left. And so I see that element there. And then, like you said, right, right, right. Yes, yes, exactly. So right, right, right. And I'm wondering, like I was saying, how many of them are native to the community, or they think they're helping because yeah, that was going to ask you about. Yeah, that area. Yeah, yeah, like they're flagships. Yeah. So these politicians that are mentioned, are they like big into dealerships? Are they anti EV? Like, are they? I mean, obviously they're anti Musk, but we've got Fahey and Gabriela Romeo. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Saudi. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And then you've got Scout Motors is coming out, and nobody wants them to succeed because they want the VW dealers to have first crack at them, but they don't want dealers anymore. Then you've got Rivian finally turned a profit, and they are now making money on every car. They're very careful to keep it that way, and so making them get into a bidding war over their main storefront, or just making it so people can't see their cars. I don't now see how it does this stuff they claim about fostering competition and innovation in the marketplace, or uh, uh, where did they put it? Allowing manufacturers to enter the market and ensure there's an opportunity to expand these locations geographically. So going from what 15, 20, 35, whatever we are at today, down to five total, doesn't do what they say. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah. There you go. That's the other part of this situation to me. I don't understand. It seems designed to actually make Tesla money because they cobbled it together so quickly that everything they're saying doesn't make sense. They're like, sell your car at a loss, burn them up and let insurance buy new ones. And like in my case, people like me, my car is a drain on Tesla. So if mine changes hands, suddenly it becomes a profit center for the company. So I, I don't get what they're going for. Our friend Patrick Connor, he wrote he wrote an article on his carsaccords.net about not letting these people on either side bully you into this. It's a car. It shouldn't be a political statement. It's not like the Volkswagen's origin. Even they seem to have gotten past it. So he's one of those people who just buys a new car every 10 years. He saves up the cash for it. And I'm not saying he always buys cash, but he's one of those people who's just like so disciplined that, he does it on the tens. He doesn't do like many of us and then lease them or buy them with a loan and pay them off. And so there's just no way for him to jump for no reason and buy a car. And it's like I keep saying, they're the picketing, that's fine, but the rest of them, they can focus those efforts non-violently on actually just being where he is, so you can see them, versus 20 years behind bars for something severe or something minor, depending on which individuals we're discussing. Because whatever the heck it is they're trying to accomplish, you can't get it behind bars. It's not like we're discussing life and death situations here. I mean, it can be overseas, and that's what some of this does end up to do, but it's not. It's not like they want to compare themselves to like the civil rights movement or situations like that, where it was still distasteful, but it was a lot more understood to take to violence for what was going on. And then they're not focusing on corporate assets. They're focused on personal cars. So if you're trying to win hearts and minds, making somebody have to go buy a new car out of cycle is not the way to win their hearts, or making them come up with a deductible and a hit to the value of their car and the rise of insurance rates to go fix their car after you've defaced it. You're not going to make them your friend. You're not going to make them go for whatever it is you're trying to say. You're going to push them the other way. And it's even worse when you can't even get the car right. If you burn somebody's Polestar to the ground, or you scratch the heck out of somebody's Rivian, they really aren't going to like you after what you've done. And I was talking to my mom the other day. So it's the point where just 3 years ago, you were just browbeating and telling these people to get these things, and now you're saying, "Oh, you get the wrong one. You shouldn't have done it that way." Very similar to the way that IF Metal in Sweden was like, "Oh well, the owner of the body shop, the crash repair shop, they weren't union members. Why were you fixing their cars in the first place?" A customer comes to you, says, "I have a broken car. You fix broken cars. What do you want me to do?" He was hamstringed by his grandfather, who joined that particular sympathy strike group. So then when they went on sympathy strike, he was complaining about how he's going to lose 30 employees and how they might run out of business because fixing broken Teslas was their crashed Teslas was their the largest part of their business at that point. Do you think that that if it comes time that to re-up or change an agreement with this union, that he's going to continue whatever his grandfather did? He's going to find a way out of it. And I don't think these folks are being effective in whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. I don't know. And the doublespeak just infuriates me because, like you said, you've already got the Rivian and the Lucid right there in the square, so that's 3 right there. So I would have less disrespect for them if they would just out and out say, "Hey, we got 10 million in donations from dealerships and anti-scout folks to make sure that Volkswagen doesn't succeed in leaving the forced dealer groups." But the other part of this is that that's not really a legitimate fear. The way that franchise law for automobiles is set up in the States is that once you're a dealership model, you can't change it. You can't go back because they've got such great protections to make sure that in the past, when Ford and GM tried to do the corporate store and just plop a corporate store right across the street from your franchise store to run you out of business, we fixed that. So they've got the protection they need. So to continue to say, oh, it's more choice and it's freedom and it's this and that by getting rid of your choice to buy a car however you want and to get rid of their choice to sell a car how they want, not the ones who already are bound by agreements, but the ones who don't have those agreements, to force them into dealing with these third parties that they don't want to deal with. We just said how the Rivian is finally in profit. Imagine if they had to keep the price the same, but then pay a minimum of 10% to a dealer. If they were only 2% profitable, they're now 8% in the hole again, at a minimum. Or the price has to go up 10%. They're already on the verge of not being very affordable. So, I mean, it's very frustrating. I was going to look for Carson's post. So Carson Knight points out that there's an opportunity here if these women succeed. That look at how many. So he points out that the Tesla's first store and repair shop on Native American land was in New Mexico in 2021, and then he shows us the reservations that are in New York. So on the far side of Long Island, we've got this one, and then all throughout the upstate, we've got these. So if they want to play dirty, all the direct sales groups, Tesla, Rivian, Polestar, or not Polestar, Tesla, Rivian, Lucid, etc., Scout, they can get dirty as well if these fine nations will invite them to participate. Yeah, I had technical issues during this space. Let's start it again, part 3. Let's chat. Oh, it's lowercase. Oh, capital. Let's chat with Kacey and Friends, March 30th, part 3. Recorded. Start. Yep. Unmute. Okay. So, oh no, I missed it, Robert. Robert said sound's gone. I could have caught it if I was paying attention to the chat. Let me get this tablet over here so I can do that next time it walks out. Okay, so that's now next to me. So the next time it freaks out, I can fix it. Okay. Oh, she's got lip drippings and creases on the back of her nose. Let's get a wipe or a washcloth in there when she's back. There's Robert. Okay. So yeah, so Carson's got a good solution there, if they will have us. They have every reason not to trust folks from the U.S., but it's also a profit opportunity for them if they choose to accept that. So we talked about the recall. We talked about the doublespeak. Let's talk about somebody who is using the dealer model. And we've got Stellantis. They're going to buy emissions credits from Tesla in 2025 to meet the EU's CO2 reduction requirements, said the company. Asked whether Stellantis planned to use credits bought from Tesla this year, the group's head said, "I'll use everything." So they're not doing well on their goals of meeting their climate requirements. However, there are solutions out there, and the more competition there is for those credits, the higher the price goes. And that's a bonus for the companies that are doing the right thing, and it also increases the price of doing the right thing, or increases the incentive to do the right thing for the companies that are not compliant as those prices go up, because as the credits either get used by the companies that are generating them, or other folks are not complying correctly and they go to sell them, the price will go up. So they'll have to do the right thing somehow. I think I was talking about emissions. I guess the Wagner S isn't selling too good. We got here. So then we've got Hyundai has finally realized what Rivian and Tesla have known from the jump, that you want a software-defined car, but then after you've got a software-defined car, you want to stop doing things the old way. You want to minimize the amount of wiring and different controllers and modules and stuff that's coming from third parties that you don't have any control of the software for. So they've started this project called, I'm going to call it Pleios. They are following in Rivian's footsteps with their zonal architecture, and we'll see how it goes. But they are so happy about it. They've got the new Pleios software brand. It will develop new vehicle operating systems, and a next generation infotainment system is also in the pipeline. So if you are one of the folks complaining about your Hyundai Kia Motor Genesis group about their infotainment system, there's hope on your next car. There could be hope to the existing car, but that's just not the way the legacies operate, so I wouldn't hold my breath that you get the update to the new stuff. But look at that. Minimal buttons. Touchscreen first. And I don't know about that really thin center console, but the rest of it looks quite appealing. I will say, though, that center console would make sense on a smaller, like, sports car, like an open-top Roadster or a drop-top like a Miata. That'd be fun. So we'll see how successful they are at this, or if they end up partnering with Rivian as well, or somebody else. And oh yeah, we had this distraction come up, so let's take a look at it. Aptera's production intent solar EV completed its first road trip, traversing over 300 miles. And I think I've got Aptera's. I did not save it. I did not save it in the notes. That's not good. So Aptera, they were trying to demonstrate their 1,000 miles on a charge. So they took a trip with their prototype, and it might not have the full-size battery. Took a trip with their prototype and never plugged it in. And they went, from the graphic here, they went from the Imperial Valley to Flagstaff and back. Let's read the text and see. A solar electric EV startup. We're near the end of the month, so naturally that means we're due for a video update from our favorite and only solar EV startup, Aptera. Talo Trucks is also going to be using Aptera's solar roof on their trucks. It will not power the whole truck, but it will keep your batteries topped up. And I guess if you really drive it infrequently, it could be your only source of charging for the truck. This time around, we had to wait for about 25 days since their last update. The results were groundbreaking, including a coast down test that measured the vehicle's aerodynamic, rolling, and powertrain losses by tracking how efficiently the vehicle moves through along a given road. So the coast down tests are pretty important for determining your fuel efficiency and your range. I think you can do them indoors on a dyno, but most manufacturers, what they'll do is they'll pick a particular day where the wind is either still or going across the road rather than one way or the other. And they'll get up to a certain speed, and then they'll cut propulsion, and then they'll see how far the vehicle rolls before it comes to a stop, or at least down to a certain speed. And then they'll do it the other direction, and just to cancel out any effects of a sustained wind or terrain, etc. And they'll do that a couple times, and then they'll average out the results to get their coast down result. And that coast down is necessary to feed into the models for fuel efficiency, aerodynamics, rolling resistance, and everything. And some of them will combine that outdoor test with the dynamometer, the rolling road, the hamster wheel, the rollers, however you want to call it. The rolling road is completely separate from those things because it is like a treadmill for the car. But they did impressive on that. I forgot how far they went. I did read it. And then they went to demonstrate how far they could go with their built-in charge and while operating off of the solar. Because remember, they were inspired by the Australian solar cars of the late 90s and early 2000s. New video showcases the 300-mile journey, and Rich says, glad to see Aptera released into the wild. It's been a long road for Aptera, and the dedication to the small engineering team is paying off. A worthy startup that deserves to make it to production. Truly hope they do. Yeah, they had it's such a short stick they drew during 2007, leading into 2008, and then the crash of the economy. They got shafted. Aptera released their latest video. You said that. How many times can I say that in one post? As you can see on the map above, the solar EV's journey began at an elevation in Flagstaff, where the team documented the solar EV was gathering 300 watts of energy before they even left for the day. In the video, you can see that Steve Frambro navigate the west and south down the historic Route 66 at fun landmarks like the Arizona Cool Animal Sanctuary, if you've never been, and Lake Havasu. At one point, the video noted that the solar EV was pulling over 545 watts of solar input, even though it was overcast. That's pretty darn good. I don't think I'm pulling 500 watts right now. I'm not. I'm pulling 383 watts right now, and it's overcast. And that's from my portable panels, not from the ones on the roof. Are the ones on the roof even connected right now? They're on a completely different network, so they don't always show. And now I'm curious. Today, 15.91 kilowatt hours on this overcast day. So not the greatest, but each panel so far is almost committed a kilowatt hour on the front, and in the back, well, the back has had a hard day. Almost 500, almost 1 kilowatt hour each for the front array, and almost half a kilowatt hour for the rear array. And voltage is 244 right now, and a month to date's not bad. 775 kilowatt hours, considering all the rain and overcast we've had. Past in 7 days is 111 kilowatt hours. And what I was looking for, well, not energy, but power. What are we making right now to compare to their 500 watts? But of course, this is a whole roof. The peak was 499 kilowatts today, and the latest was 895 watts. So almost a kilowatt right now. So not terrible, but not keeping up with what we've been doing lately. After the pollen, I might go and get them cleaned. Celebrate the first road trip. In real-world conditions on a public highway, Aptera is giving away an $800 solar-powered prize pack. You can learn more about how to enter here. Interesting. So then we've got a slew of announcements from Nissan. Let's get into it. And now, some of these are probably concepts, and I don't really do concepts, especially from folks that don't always deliver on their concepts. Or I say always, often deliver on their concepts. But there's, there's a vehicle in here that I know they're going to be doing that we're interested in. So we'll look at the other stuff they showed, and we'll see if it's interesting enough to keep on the other stuff before we go to the meat and potatoes of it all. All right, so the Nissan Micra EV, is this it? This is it. It's based on the Renault 5 EV. Okay, so this one must be real if it's based on an existing car. And it'll be joined in the lineup by the new Juke EV. Look at that. So we'll probably be getting the Juke, and they'll call it the Juke EV, and they'll call it the Micra or whatever. Because the Juke is something else in the rest of the world. Do they even still make it here? I don't know. Nissan's unveiled all new 6th generation Micra, a fully electric vehicle. It has the same amp-R platform as the Renault 5, and will likely have nearly identical specs. The Micra EV will be joined by an electric Juke, so I guess it won't be the Juke, because it wouldn't put it in the same sentence. You'd say it's going to be rebadged as the Juke. Interesting. By new Juke in 2026. Nissan has revealed that the first image of the Micra, which becomes a pure EV for its 6th generation, it launches in Europe this year, where it'll be joined by a Juke EV to give subcompact buyers the option of either a hatchback or crossover. Under the skin, you get the CMF-B EV platform, also known as the amp-R Small, with Renault 5 E-Tech. And the two vehicles will likely have identical specs. It was penned at Nissan's UK design studio to appeal to European buyers, and it promises a compelling mix of audacious style and simplicity in a compact package, updated for the electric age. Let's see. So the specs are still under wraps, so we'll have to look at the Renault 5 if we want to have any clue. So the Renault 5 base variant could have 94 horsepower motor, drawing from a 40 kilowatt hour battery pack, giving a WLTP range of 186 miles or 300 kilometers. So this is a city car through and through. But I mean, the whole European stereotype is that you guys get on a train if you want to go far, or get on a plane. You're not going to take a car trip to all these various countries. Although here in the States, it's a 5-hour trip. We're taking a car. 8 hours. We might take a plane. We probably won't take a train because our train infrastructure sucks, except for in the Northeast Corridor. Let's see. It might be more powerful than 122 horsepower motor. Excuse me, providing more performance without sacrificing range. I'd say much range. And there's also no reason why Nissan couldn't create a Nismo branded hot hatch. That would be fun. So there we go. We have a preview of that one, but we're not done today because we're going to get to that one in a minute, but we're not there yet. Can Nissan's new real car guy CEO put it back in the EV race? Maybe, if they don't put him in a box, an instrument case, shipping out of the country. Nissan's Pride doomed its emergency merger with Honda. Yeah, it looked like that. Honda might still have saved Nissan. I'm curious how that is considered. Nissan can nab Foxconn exec for its new CEO. If that's not him, then they didn't do that. Nissan's EV plans in America may depend on Trump. May. They do. All right, so Nissan's got these like road-going EVs. They need something a little more rugged and fun to compete with all the trucks that are out there now. Let's see what they do. They're making an Xterra-inspired adventure EV to go with the Rivian Adventure brand, the GM Fleet, and the Triangle. I saw it in person. It looks great. But should Nissan use the Xterra name on a crossover? That depends on whether people actually like the Xterra name. We were having a discussion the other day about somebody in Xterra making gestures at people, and it was resoundingly negative. Excuse me, that was a sample size of like 150 people. If everybody else has a more fond memory of the name, then it might make sense to put it on there. Or if you like the name enough as a company that you want to bring it back and not buy or establish new IP, I can see that. All right, next up, let's see about this Xterra. Nissan will produce an adventure-focused SUV in Canton, Mississippi. Oh, okay. Starting 27 or 28. I saw it in person. It looks exactly like the sort of thing that modern buyers want in an SUV. It's got an Xterra-inspired styling, but will be more refined and less capable than that body-on-frame truck. So what should Nissan call it? Well, if it can't keep up with the old vehicle, that's not good. Sending messages is not currently supported for Facebook profiles, groups, X, and LinkedIn. So who ruined my chat this week? Was it Facebook again? I see you blaming everybody. But usually it's Facebook when you block my chat. And how about you don't block? Good. Thank you. Yeah. I'm wondering, because usually it's Facebook that blocks me from being able to use chat. But this week they're saying everybody, except for YouTube. But I'm wondering if they're just covering for Facebook this time, because I was able to chat on X last week. And usually if there's one I can't chat to, they just don't chat to it, like LinkedIn, for instance. I'm going to submit them a ticket and say, this is ridiculous. You just put a message underneath saying that so-and-so is blocked and let me chat with whoever isn't blocked. Because having to open up all the different monitors is goofy. And then on a phone or tablet or just a single screen laptop, like when we're on the road, it's impossible. Because to shrink down the window like that, then you have no control over clicking the buttons to run the show. So they have to do better. So anyway, Nissan's electric SUV is the next generation. Well, I guess we get into it early. Is the next generation Leaf, which will launch sometime in the next 12 months. But if you're like me, the next electric crossover may get you more excited. So Leaf is going from a sedan hatchback to an SUV. Eh? I wonder what that does to the Aria. We'll see that in the next article where it's actually on the Leaf. No, it's not. It's not. I'm sorry. It's on their hybrids. And there must be something up for me to talk about hybrids, because I never talk about hybrids. So that'll be fun. Or it promises to be fun, I should say. I didn't read the article. I caught snippets while this one was in the hospital. She's got some powerful neck muscles for somebody who's not supposed to have any neck muscles. Let's see. Looks fantastic. Nissan didn't allow us to take photos at the full speed ahead. Of course not, because they want to roll it out themselves. Look at all these things in shadow. If you took a real picture, then they couldn't slowly unveil them one at a time. Well, the most compelling product was a roughly Subaru Outback-sized adventure EV with visual nods to the beloved Xterra. Well, if you make something that is Subaru Outbackish, you can stand to snatch all those customers from Subaru if you can get this done before Toyota does it. because right now Toyota's has got the Subaru with the Solterra, and it really sucks. Sorry if it fits your needs, but overall it sucks. There's nothing saying that Subaru couldn't go it alone, but how many new cars has Subaru made on their own in the last 20 years? The SUV will be built in Canton, Mississippi, where Altima and Frontier are built today. Nissan says it'll launch in fiscal year 27, which in Japan runs between April 1st, 27 and March 31st of 28. These are some wide ranges they're giving for all these cars. The SUV's outline is visible in one of Nissan's teaser images, which I've cropped above. But make no mistake that that wasn't the good version. While every version of this EV will have a roof rack, the cooler version had an exterior-like integrated roof basket and knobby all-terrain tires and chunky styling. It also had the exterior's asymmetric rear window, which looked like a love child of the Hyundai Santa Fe and Subaru Outback Wilderness, and the exterior itself. I loved it. All right. Okay, so now let's go to the other one, the hybrids, and why I even care to talk about hybrids. And then we will go to the fun one, the blue one. We've hinted at it already. We're looking at Nissan's next-gen hybrids are actually E-revs. So that's extended range EVs. So we're looking at a plug-in EV with a hydrogen extender, steam extender, gasoline, diesel extender, turbine, rubber band, or what we used to think hybrids were before we realized they were just gas cars. So Nissan's getting into the E-Rev game, or has been since 2016, depending on your perspective. The e-Power hybrid system has no physical connection between the gas engine and the wheels, so much like the Ram Charger. Will allow all of the power going through the electric drivetrain. And now the system is finally coming to America, officials have confirmed at a press event in Japan attended by Inside EVs earlier this week. Third generation e-Power system will arrive in the redesigned 2026 Rogue small crossover. Okay. The second generation e-Power setup is already in the Kizashi, which is the Rogue overseas crossover, which is a smash hit in Europe. Somewhat confusingly, the Nissan will launch a plug-in hybrid version of the current Rogue this year, but they'll use the traditional parallel system from Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. Interesting. So that one's going to be a Mitsubishi, probably with 30, 40 miles of plug-in range, and a Nissan badge on the front. But then they're going to do the E-Rev thing, like Dodge Ram, and like Volt pretended to be. In a parallel system, both the engine and electric motor can send power to the wheels, so you have to blend them together in a way that's tough to pull off perfectly. Yeah, people don't like the way it feels on a blended power system. E-Power models only use their electric motors for motivation, with the engine purely serving to generate electricity. You can also work the engine a lot more efficiently if it cannot rev to do the road stuff. Of course, Mazda wants to put a rotary engine in there to do the same thing. Somehow they feel that the rotary can be used efficiently. Anyway, continuing on. The other E-Revs use a giant battery with a ton of EV range, splitting the difference between plug-in hybrid and a pure EV. Both plans offer over 100 miles of battery electric range. That's the way to do it. I keep saying that. You know, the 50 miles of range on the outgoing Volt was good, but you needed 70 to 100 miles of range, so people could do all their day-to-day and errands and surprises, and then they only need to burn gas on road trips. This is a good way to do it. She did? Which one? Okay, I had a 12 and a 13. Those were solid tanks. Nope. Not even close. That's right. None of this. Oh, I'm a mile from home, and let me just turn on the generator and burn 3 tablespoons of gasoline for no reason, because it's not going to the road at that point. It's not going to the battery. It's like, what are you spinning for? Ugh. It annoyed me so much. I'd be almost home, and it'd be. You haven't burned any gas this month. We're going to have to turn on the maintenance mode. What you got there? What are you eating? Oh, the fruit. Good. Thank you. Oh, because it's standard range. Is it LFP or NMC? Do you know? Oh. Okay. Are you gonna You're gonna how are we gonna find out? No, I meant how do we gonna? I forget how we determine. Oh wait, you know what? I do know. Um, when you go to the charging screen and ask it where you want to charge, if it suggests 100%, it'll be LFP. If it doesn't suggest 100%, then it's NMC. Yes, it'll be exciting. You could have done it at the place, but the salesman would have either done it wrong or just been mad and cost you the sale. Yep. Oh, and the Scout Terra Harvester works this way as well as the EREV. And then in the past we had the BMW i3 and the what was Bob Lutt's part of Via Trucks, although they didn't do so well, is my understanding after watching some videos on them, which is unfortunate. Many automakers are planning larger batteries for EREVs because they believe that those will be necessary to power larger electric motors. I don't care what the reasoning is, as long as people actually can get some range on their hybrids. That's the way to go. And you can go with a smaller engine too. Yeah, 1.5 liter engine Kacey e-power to send the power straight to the motor. Yes. Okay. So, like I said, that was more exciting than anything else I've ever seen on hybrids in a long time. But now let's get to the meat and potatoes of our Nissan coverage today. Leaf, Leaf, all caps, is all grown up and better than ever. Here's a first look at the new EV. They weren't kidding when they said it's a crossover. Look at this thing. That is much bigger than the old Leaf. The question for me then is, you've got two crossovers. I see the radar right there in the center. Oh, you can't see my mouse. Why is it being this way? Over here, over here. There we go. Yeah, I see the radar right here in the center. What I'm curious at this point is, with two SUVs crossovers apparently on the same side of the spectrum, what's going to happen to the Aria? Or is it bigger or smaller than the Aria? I saw one the other day. Pointed out to my wife that the charge port door is in a weird place. It may be a weird place, but it does work with the superchargers because it's on the front right, so they nose into a supercharger, and it's the same thing as if a Tesla backs into a supercharger. Done. Although it is just as weird on a left-hand drive country as I was talking about when RJ was insisting on putting the charge port door on the R2 on the passenger rear, which I thought was just goofballs. My argument is, I don't work for the telephone company or the cable company. I don't need to get out and put cones on all corners of my car all the time. And with all those cameras, you should be watching anyway while I'm gone with your gear guard. Anyway, so the new Nissan Leaf is a crossover with some pretty major upgrades. Nissan unveiled the third gen. That's quite a stretch to call it the third gen, because the second gen Leaf was just a skin job. They put a new facelift on the exact same car, down to the point where if you got the premium sound, it was the same unit and it was still blocking your cargo bay. And all the batteries are interchangeable if you have a nice nerd hacker friend. So to call that a second gen is very generous. So the real new Leaf, let's call it that, third gen, second gen, I don't care what you want to call this thing, but the real new Leaf is a stylish crossover. It now has significantly more range, and even has an AX port. Yeah, then more range was the other part that they needed, because 100 miles in this day and age was it had a purpose, but not with the prices they were charging. I'm not saying when you got a special where they give it away for $1 a month or any of that weird cool stuff. It even has an AX port for charging at superchargers. Here's a first look at the new Leaf EV. The first mass market EV, yeah, it was back in 2010, and then unchanged for over 15 years. Ouch. Can you imagine you bought the original Leaf and then like just kept changing batteries? There was like no compelling reason to go to the new one. Wow. Anyway, my screen turned off. Okay, we're still cool over there though. That's important. There we go. Oh, Highlander, you got your hand up. What's up, Highlander? Welcome back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, are you? Yeah, man, it's beautiful. I don't know why I don't see more of them, except for the Nissan market penetration. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, down to the one pedal. Yeah. Okay. I also like that they did do a little bit of the like you got that wood interior that kind of transition the people into the touch interfaces, not like the old Volt did with just the white or gray touchscreen thing around the small touchscreen. Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah, and it suits your mood or the music. Oh, good smile. Her cheeks are already full as her sisters were. She keeps eating like this. Oh man. All right, so let's continue on this Leaf. So it's cool to see that the Aria is where it is. I'm curious. I also like that the Leaf is coming out Max native rather than with adapters. But it also means like puts a solid, nail in the coffin on the Chatamo Leaf that they're not going to make any adapters for that thing. If you want me to put food in your mouth, you need to open your eyes. That's what I thought. Go back to sleep. So, feed me. Oh, you want milk? Open an eye. Where's the milk coming from? And just sleep again. All right, let's see. 2010. With advanced models from nearly every brand, more range and faster charging, the Leaf has lost some of its lust. Some. The Leaf still has a purpose, the old Leaf, but it's a niche market at this point. Something fresh for the kids to do school with, to make sure they're not leaving town, I guess. But or if you get one of them, $2 leases. Underpinned by the new CMF-EV platform, That sounds like under the same one underpinning the Aria SUV. And Nissan promises the new Leaf will have significant range improvements over the outgoing model. That's not hard to do. It will also be available with 19-inch alloy wheels, panoramic sunroof for the first time, and one of the most exciting upgrades is it will have an integrated NACS port, so you can charge at superchargers. This alone will make it more competitive in the US. And they will have finally put some liquid cooling on that battery pack instead of nothing. I say nothing because the Nissan NV200, NVE200. Either way, the Leaf van had it had a computer fan blowing into the battery pack, while the Leaf itself had nothing. It had heat, but no cool. And the Aria has heating and cooling via liquid cooling. More will be shared mid-year. However, the new vehicle program's chief, Francois Bailey, told Top Gear that the new Leaf is expected to have 373 miles of driving range, or 600 kilometers. Not bad. Yeah? They won't let her. Oh, wow. Is that by design, or? There you go. Was that by design, or 120? That'll at least keep it from freezing. Was that by design, or is it like the particular trim level she had that they don't offer it? Because you know how they do options. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I like that. She did what I said. She opened her eyes, got the milk, and closed her eyes again. She's not even holding it. Yeah? What's that? Yeah? Yeah. Ah. So she didn't have to go far. Yeah. Yeah. They do. And if you're the first owner, they take care of you. Yeah, I can tell you that going far for service is no fun. Here in South Carolina, I've got a choice of going to Charlotte or going to Savannah for service. And in South Dakota, that's a similar just trek to go do anything where I can't get mobile service. So I mean, I'll do it because I'm a nerd, but I don't advise that part to anybody. Uh, these places named South, they don't really treat the direct sales and service very well, which always brings me back to Texas. It's like Abbott was riding Elon's coattails about, oh, look what he's doing for our state, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, it's been 12 years. Can they sell and service vehicles there yet? No, no. He called them back for some gun stuff and then let them adjourn without ever bringing up the Tesla stuff. It's like, you were just saying about how proud you were they have this new factory and this and that you're not doing anything to let them sell and service those new cars coming out the factory. To the point where on paper they have to leave the state and come back. Yeah. They did, yeah. 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 On the reservation? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 It is. And all this because of the dealers. I mean, at least Michigan, it made some sense because not only did you have all the dealers, but you also have the manufacturers there. But Tesla is a large employer there because they bought Tesla Tool and Die, and Michigan owns a significant portion of their stock for the retirement plans. So I don't get these politicians continuing to hold that much water for um, Michigan. Yeah, Tool and Die, Tesla Tool and Die in Michigan. Nice. Oh, you didn't. Oh man, you'd be a Tesla millionaire today. They were. Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. But they also had they had the yeah 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 the store yeah yes yeah yeah yeah. Oh yeah right. So that's what I'm not understanding. All these people don't realize it is. They're huge in the states, and then people don't recognize it. They're like, oh, it's just this small startup, and they just make these little expensive electric cars. It's like the Model 3 hasn't been expensive in at least 5 years. I mean, you can get the sports model, or you can get a brand new one, but used ones have been affordable for a minute now. Are you done with this? That's a first. Enjoy your nap. Uh, I'm not napping. I'm taking a break. What do you mean? I mean, yeah, everybody makes mistakes. I mean, hindsight is 2020. Oh, you're snoring? Yeah. Right? Yeah, it happens. Right, exactly. So they did the same thing that they did over there. They did at Grumman Automotive in Germany, which is now Tesla Grumman or Tesla Automation. Another firm last month just went out of business. They went bankrupt, and so Tesla bought the building and most of the people's contracts. So that's pretty cool. So they're going to be part of automation. Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. Okay, so let's see you on this Leaf thing. Earlier, we got a look at the new Leaf testing in the U.S., revealing its crossover design, shown above. They did a good job with this wrap. It doesn't look like a crossover there, but you can tell it's got the high belt line and everything. But it looks like a car there with that wrap. She's a noisy sleeper. Um, Top comment. Generally, this looks pretty good. I have to say, though, that the original Leaf had a mildly sci-fi look to it that I find endearing. Yeah, but you can't sell that for 20 years. Even the second gen kept at least a little bit of that. Yeah, because they just did a skin job on the existing car. This new Leaf looks cool, but that kind of generic. Our friend Eddie on Facebook would say that same old crossover genericness, same old crossover look. Well, if you stop wiggling, I can get the bib back on you and then get the bottle back in your mouth like you're asking for. Over here, baby. The computer won't feed you. Well, not directly. Good job making my money. But the milk is over here. I'll feed you. Anyway, earlier this year, we got to look at Leaf testing in the US, blah, blah. The new adventure-focused EV, electric SUV, that was the Xterra we talked about. So there's the Leaf. We'll know more in the middle of the year, it sounds like. It's about time. Because they said it was gone, it's never coming back, and then they said, people love it, it's coming back. But we don't know when. And now we know when. I do like that. It would have been a shame for them to waste that first mover advantage. They did do the tortoise and the hare. The hare took a sleep there because it took Tesla, 6 years to catch up to their lead? They were fighting back and forth with Chevy for a while, so Chevy decided they weren't in the game when they were leading with 53 cars delivered in a year. But I mean, who wouldn't have a sour taste in their mouth when your cars are catching on fire left and right because your supplier put detritus inside your cells? Milk. No, don't cry. Don't cry. Okay, milk. Milk. Yeah, milk. Well, if you don't move your tongue, the bottle won't fit in there. Open your mouth. There you go. There you go. You gonna hold this? Good. Well, you gotta hold it up. You don't want to drink air. You have to burp and fart. There you go. If they can do better software than the Aria that has no way to set sock limit and always charges 100% unless you manually stop it, no trip planning and routing for charge stops. That's what you're talking about there with the pre-charging. So they literally made it like a gas car. You fill it until you unplug it. Okay, breathe. Yeah, breathe. You got it. Oh, you want it back? Okay, I'll give it back. I want to make sure you're breathing first. The milk does no good if you can't breathe. The stomach and lungs, you got to work together. Stomach doesn't overrule the lungs, okay? Yeah. Yeah, you'll learn it. Here you go. Do you want it or not? There you go. Oh, she's a trip. Okay. Moto's on a long nap. She must have got up early. All right, so that's enough of the Leaf. We'll see more when it comes out. I think we talked about this before. I don't remember that we did. The tab was still open. Talking about how residential battery storage skyrocketed and set a world record in 2023. Yeah. Michelle here, she mixes up her power and energy a couple times. But she says the U.S. battery market in 2024 installed 12.3 gigawatts of new capacity, which would be gigawatt hours, across all sectors, according to a new report from the American Clean Power Association. And the reason I think it's gigawatt hours is because it says 37,000. Oh, no, maybe not. Okay, yeah, I think she did right. 12.3 gigawatts of power and 37.14 gigawatt hours of storage were added. Okay. A jump of 33% and 34% respectively. When I still had the tab up, it was It was worded more awkwardly than that. So it looks like they did an edit on it. Grid scale storage breaks records despite some delays, with the final quarter of 24 showing a dip of 20% in grid scale battery storage compared to 23. This decline was mainly due to the delayed completion of 2 gigawatts worth of projects, now pushed into 25. Texas and California dominate the grid scale market with 61% of capacity added in quarter 4. That's incredible. Residential battery storage hits new highs at over 1.2 gigawatts in 24, and 57% increase from the previous year. The last quarter alone saw a record-breaking 380 megawatts added, a 6% bump compared to Q3. I don't think this is very useful to measure home batteries in power, because the homes are only going to draw so much power. A typical townhome here in the States is 100 amps, 240 volts, so you're looking at 20 kilowatts. And standalone home, you're looking at 40 kilowatts max draw. And then I guess 80 kilowatts for the McMansions or other high power installations. I could see myself putting 400 amp service in a 3-bedroom house, because I'm a nerd like that, but I'm special. Let's see. Oh, baby, what? What do you like that? Well, turn your head. What do you do now? Interesting. Yeah, I mean, he's aware of him, but is he going to do anything for him? Like a train wreck. Although maybe it has, because like if he's getting out of this, and you said 136 days instead of 2 years, then maybe it did have an effect on him. But I'm curious to see. I want to read this post and see how he's. When did that change? Is that when he kicked Vivek out? That must have been when he kicked Vivek out then, because the whole time they were all talking about 2 years. We'll see. All I know is it'd be nice not to have the chaos. The last crew that did this, the last 2 crews that did this, they did a lot more structured. Yeah, it wasn't quick, but they also didn't have to walk back anything. And the numbers they put out could be verified. Like I said, the man says stuff, so I liked it better when he was rarely wrong with the stuff he put out versus like, oh boy, I got another homework assignment because that man opened his mouth. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking like Elon time or FSC this year thing, but just like his accuracy has gone way down in the last 6 years of stuff he says. Like, he's been pretty good in the past. Well, that's what I'm saying. Aside from him in Full Self-Driving, or him in anything involving a calendar, because like you sent me that one about him saying we're going to be on the rocket this year, and 5 years ago. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on those ones. But like any facts and figures he used to be closer to what reality was than me having to dissect and figure out what he really meant or who really said what. It's like if I wanted a homework assignment, I'll listen to my professors. I don't want him to give me homework assignments. But that's just me. So this is really cool. Home batteries, that's the way to go. You guys know me. Solar and storage, because once you've got your battery at home, there's nothing stopping you for making your own electricity at home and using it on your own, assuming that you have the ability to disconnect from the grid and still use that battery. That's right. All right, so we talked about the Ionic software, or not the Ionic software, the Hyundai, Genesis, Kia software group, the name I forgot already, Pleios. Here's what we've got in the meantime. This Ionic 5 drove 360,000 miles on its original battery. So does that mean they changed the battery at 360, or the car crashed, or has it done 300 so far? Let's find out the details. 666,255 kilometers. I don't know what the Korean says on there, but that's cool. Maybe it's 3 years or something. Let me see if I can't translate this. Copy image. Go over to this one. It's not Welsh. It's Korean. They don't even look the same. Oh, you hear that, Robert? Google's on a trip. So when I put it into Google Image Translate, after I got it to acknowledge that it was not Welsh, it just dropped the text on the right. So I'm guessing that 3 and the symbols just translates into 666,255 kilometers. Which is interesting that they even put it on the front there, because it's also on the dashboard. Let me, it's in Welsh again. That's so weird. Let me share this tab instead so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Look, it says Welsh. And it dropped the Korean text. You can't see my mouse again. Why is it doing that? Oh, well. So I want detect language. Okay. I thought that would be more to it. 3 years and a little more. That 3 seems like this guy is like a taxi cab driver or something, you know? 3 years, a little more. So let's go back to the story. And let's reset my Google Translate to be ready to accept anything. This white Ioniq 5 single-handedly is rewriting the rules on EV longevity by driving over 360,000 miles, on its original battery. And what's even wilder is the battery still had 87% health, despite the owner exclusively using DC fast charging and charging the car to 100%. He sounds like a taxi driver. Or he could live in an apartment and just not want to be bothered with maintaining that perfect balance versus just knocking it charge on in there and then just getting about his day. That was more than 50,000 miles ago, and the car is still going strong. Oh, not bad. Take a look at that digital dashboard display up there. You might notice the Hyundai Ioniq 5's odometer sitting pretty at 66255 kilometers. It is over 413,990 miles, and the South Korean EV reportedly is still racking up miles and fast. So why are you saying 360 and 400? Did the battery get changed to 360 at 87%? Because I did that. My battery got changed at 100,000 miles and 88%, because parts of the battery just fell apart. The conformal coating on some of the modules, not the battery modules, but the hardware modules, like the sensors and stuff, they failed due to the moisture in the air condensing, and that's why all the new Tesla batteries are full of goo, so that there's nowhere for the condensation from the outside air to land on their computer boards or the terminals or the contacts. So anyway, that's why mine got replaced. Because while the batteries were good, there was nothing in there to monitor that the charge wasn't going awry. Because all the pads had rusted through and the wires had breaks in them. Yes. All right, you gotta watch the swan dive stuff. Like everything around you is just hard, and you got a soft spot. I'm gonna change you after this, okay? Anyway, that's nearly 400 miles a day. What does this guy do? He's got to be a salesman or a taxi cab driver. That's all that makes sense. Had the first battery replaced at 580,000 kilometers. That's why. Hyundai replaced it for free, as they should if he's still under warranty. Like any vehicle being driven in extreme miles, the Ioniq 5 isn't perfect. It means a bunch of stuff broke, including the car's integrated charging control units. And, oops. The mouse is doing its thing. I'm going to reboot the computer today. Integrated charging control unit, which means it can't currently be charged on AC charger. Oh, and I bet you the reason he didn't replace it is because the battery was under warranty, but the AC charger was not. And while electric cars don't need oil changes, they do need other types of maintenance, such as differential oils and brake fluids have been regularly changed in this car. The most significant repair to date was the battery replacement at 300. That's why it happened at 360,000 miles. But that's not what it says here in the picture. Is it? Yeah. 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 Yep. Yep. You want to make sure that you're testing your brakes, using your brakes, and because if you don't, they'll rust. And I don't just mean like a surface rust. I mean like they could seize up, they could rot away, and then when you need them, they're not there. So make sure you're rotating your tires, putting on your winter tires, changing your fluids, getting your inspections done. Yeah, you're paying somebody to just look at it, but that one time you don't pay somebody to just look at it, you'll find that there was something major going, and that you could have known about it weeks ago before it became thousands of dollars. It could have just been a couple $100. I noticed that they have a new in the service. I don't know if it's on the consumer side or the service side, but they have a service history on my car that included stuff like washer fluid fills, and I'm like, I've never had them do the washer fluid fill on this car because it's so easy. I'm wondering if it was logging every time I filled the fluid, because like some of them that's the only thing listed on the service, and it's like a random miles or random day. And I know it was in service on that day, so I'm wondering if it saw me refill the fluid and counted that as a service, because they had like the brake jobs. There's like everything all the way up to 2021. It didn't have the full history, nor does the app, but it was really cool to see that. You know what I need to do? I need to go back in there and see what it says on the day that I got the battery replaced. Like, how do they log that into the computer? You practicing your faces again? Because that one, you made a face like somebody farted. Did you fart? It wasn't me. Cherish these days. Next thing you know, they're just whining and crying for no reason for hours in the living room. All right. I'm not going to watch that video, but we've written about high mileage Teslas in the past, but stories like this are massively important. People sit on the fence. The average age of the U.S. vehicles is creeping up to 13 years, and that's going to go up again. Every time the money gets short, the cars get older. And now that we've got EVs that are older than that, it's nice to see how they handle. Hyundai's offering 0.99% APR for 60 months on all versions of their hot-selling Ioniq 5, as well as $7,500 in retail bonus cash. Combined with other incentives in certain markets, can make a huge difference to consumers' bottom line. It doesn't look like the two offers can be combined, so be sure to do the math and see what makes sense for you. Yeah, look at that smile. However, depending on where your car was built, that $7,500 bonus cash might be in lieu of the federal tax credit, Or if you get lucky and go to a place in time where that counts, and you get one of the Georgia cars, boom, $15,000 off of the car. Not bad. I had to put the 2 5s in there. So the 7 and 7 and the 5 and the 5 is $15,000 off the price of the car, baby. That's a lot of money. Also, all the leasing stuff still holds. Wow. That's messed up. I would be mad if that was my truck. Okay. Really, no comments on this? I thought it was pretty cool. Don't pop your shoulder, baby. Yeah, I imagine that would hurt. She's having a bad dream now. Copy. Oh, no, not copy. I don't want to copy the picture. I want to copy the link. Give me the link. Copy the link. This is by Robbie Chambers. Talking about holy bleep. FSD 13.2.8 just saved my life. There we go. FSD slammed on the brakes and saved me and my 4 friends from a devastating crash. Thank you, Tesla and automation, etc. So let's take a look at this video. So basically, he's coming up to this exit. His car is slowing to make the turn, and he still has the right of way, and he's about to go through, and the car safety system stops the car. And so here he's videoing. I guess he doesn't know about the, on the newer cars. This looks like a new Model Y based on those wheels. Yeah. Anyway, on the newer cars, the ones that aren't legacy, you can download your dash cam footage to your phone. So you don't need to video the screen with all the fingerprints and the glare. Let's take a look. Slowing down so it doesn't rock his people. Turning left, turns yellow on him, but he's already in there. Car slams on the brakes because that guy jumped the light severely. Because his was so green that it was turning yellow. So I don't know what that other guy was thinking, because that would have been red for a good long while. And this is why I really enjoy having these systems on my car. Speaking of these systems on my car, I had the last update. Let me see what this thing is called before I say it wrong. I had Tesla app. I got 2025.8.4 deployed, and then the car lost the ability to drive itself. I reset the power a couple times by changing the wheel size and color and putting it back so that my odometer wasn't off, and that the ABS wasn't messed up, that sort of thing. And restarted the regular computer. Then I went into service and checked that the 2 computers were actually talking to the MCU, which they were. And then I reset it a couple times. That didn't work. So then I reinstalled the software, redeployed all of it, and that didn't do the trick. So finally, for the 3rd time in this car's life, it's a 7-year-old car, I went ahead and recalibrated the cameras. I hate recalibrating the cameras. One, because it's always doing it on its own, constantly. And then when you force a recalibration, you lose cruise control, you lose emergency braking, you lose this, that, and the other thing, and all your settings reset. So all your automation settings change. So I'm sitting there with Moto. We were driving through town and letting it recognize all the stuff it needs to recognize to do calibration. Because what we were seeing was we'd see all the cars and all the pedestrians and the ducks and the geese and the bicycles. We saw everything. But I noticed that the graphic wasn't showing the road. It also wasn't showing any traffic lights. So that's why I went ahead and said, fine, before I go ahead and schedule service, I'll go ahead and reset the cameras. And so we're driving along. It gets back regular autopilot and cruise control, so I turn them on. Then it gets back auto steer and stop sign control beta and all that. So I turn that on. And I'm driving down an industrial park, and it says 98%. I'm like, oh, fine. Let me pull over here and see what that looks like, because it's like 98%. This is so close. I don't want to do anything else. So I drove through the parking lot. That didn't seem to change it. So I pulled into a parking spot, nose in. No real change there. So I reversed into a spot like I always do and put it in park. Boom, 100%, because that was all it needed was parking lots, I guess. And turned back on full self-driving, and it drove us out of the lot. It could see the road again. It could see the paint colors. You could see the stop signs and everything. And so the third ever camera calibration on the car. The first one was when I bought it. And the second one was when they changed the FSD computer from FSD 2.5 hardware to hardware 3. For some reason, they didn't carry over the camera calibrations. No big deal. It was mildly annoying. I was in DC at the time, so plenty of proper roads for that to work on. And then this time, I guess somebody didn't do the test for, hey, what about if a car has been in service for over 5 years at the same computer and never been recalibrated? How do we make sure that the calibrations come over? At least keep the trailing self calibrations current. I guess mine had some bad data in there somewhere. Cleared it out, started working again. That was fun. And it saved me a trip to Georgia or North Carolina or Mobile Tech coming to me, or wherever I got to go from South Dakota. The service centers are great. It's just the trip. I don't like making the trip. The employees there, they do everything they can to work in and around the system to make sure the customers are happy, and I love it. But mobile service is way more convenient because you get that same attitude, and they're at your house, at your office, at your, I don't know, wherever you park for a long time that you can set an appointment at. All right, and the last story we've got in the notebook, like I said, there weren't that many this week because, young Simba here. Don't jump. Excuse me. Service mode is now showing the cabin radar, ICR, being used for occupancy detection in the front seats, as they promised us. This should help reduce a laptop or heavy bag from triggering the seatbelt chime for the front passenger seat. Woot woot. August built 2023 Model Y from Fremont. As we talked about with our friend Patrick, he got his free retrofit on his Model Y, 2024 model. Full free. I don't know that he's gone into service to look this up yet, but they wanted everybody to get their upgrades done before the update came out, and so it looks like this has been done. Left seat occupancy unoccupied, right seat classification occupied. So he's taking the picture from the right seat. That's pretty cool. And yes, you move and complain a lot in your sleep, I tell you what. So this is really cool. And so they said coming up we'd get the rear seats. So it looks like these are determining their occupancy by just the pads and the seat belts. But coming soon, the radar will do the trick there as well. What menu is this under service mode? Good question. Don't know. Now I do. Or didn't know. Now I do. Cabin radar active. You know, but you didn't share it. That's very nice of you. It's probably under like the interior and seating. I'd have to check service mode on mine, but patch notes had activated this as well. I'll have to check my patch notes because whenever my car is updated, the service mode notes are still there, whether or not I get any of them or not, because even in legacy mode, we don't get all the updates, but they for service, but they do at least acknowledge what's happening in the other cars. They'll say, this is for Cybertruck. This is for everything except your car. Well, they don't say my car because they don't want me looking at it. They say, except for the car you're working on, Mr. Or Mrs. Tesla technician. Look at you. Hello. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Okay. So with that, anybody got anything else for the video portion of the show? Because what I'll do is I will end the video and we can continue to talk on. Huh? Oh, I did not share it on screen. No, let me do that now. And then what I'll do is, even if she's still asleep, what I'll do is I'll change that diaper while we're on the audio space. Let's see. That's nice looking pizza. And this is where you went out to get your lunch, dinner, and fish and chips. Hey, baby. He's looking at you, kid. That's what we were talking about the other space about the Microsoft trying to get your phone number. There's your YouTube video with the chargers and the Karen, or without the Karen, with the Karen clipped out, I should say. And so this one has the RFID, and you bring your own plug. And yeah. Okay, so they got the phone app there. So will they let you NFC with the phone to the pad? Because that would save them, $20 a card. And then last time you showed us this one, it was just a paint. There was no charger, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's not bad. When you're doing volume, you can get some stuff done. All right. So let's take. Oh, you're muted? Okay, so let's take the opportunity now to thank everybody for your time on the video space. I want to thank our channel members for your monetary contributions. They help take the sting out of the monthly little dips that this thing demands for software and licensing and etc. and bandwidth. And I want to thank everybody else for taking the time to like and subscribe. And for your time today, watching this and dealing with, yes, look at that smile, I was gone, and dealing with the interruptions, small and smaller, and I really forward to seeing you next week right here. We've got the Tesla Live show coming up. We've got a pre-recorded one where we're talking with Patrick about the financial impacts of these protests, as well as the not being bullied by not very well thought out situations. And then we'll be back live on Wednesday at the Tesla Live show. And we'll catch you back here. So catch you on the flip side. Thank you. And then we'll continue the audio space while I change the diaper. If I can get the buttons to work, definitely going to restart this computer at some point today.